Have you ever had a dream so strange that when you woke up, you simply could not forget it? A dream that made you wonder, was it just random images swirling around in my head? Or was it trying to send me a message for my life today? Some dreams fade away the moment we open our eyes, but others stay engraved in our minds, stirring us, haunting us, even shaping the decisions of a lifetime. And you know what? The Bible recorded such dreams, ancient dreams, powerful enough to shake the destiny of nations, of kingdoms, and of the very people who lived in them. Think about Jacob, lying under the desert sky, with nothing but a stone as his pillow. In his sleep, he saw a ladder stretching all the way up to heaven, with angels going up and down on it. That was not just a dream, it was a turning point. From a wandering man full of fear, Jacob woke up with the faith that he had just encountered the Almighty Himself, and from that moment his life was never the same. Or consider Pharaoh, the most powerful king of Egypt. One night he dreamed of 7 fat cows being devoured by 7 ugly, thin cows. No one in the palace could explain it until Joseph, a Hebrew prisoner, was brought before him. When the dream was interpreted, it saved an entire nation from a devastating famine. One dream changed the course of history. And then there was Nebuchadnezzar, the mighty king of Babylon. He was tormented by a recurring dream that left him sleepless. That very dream revealed the truth that every great empire would eventually fall, and only the kingdom of God would remain forever. These dreams, they are not just ancient stories. They are marks, timeless messages. And now, I want to ask you, if dreams in the Bible could change the destiny of nations, could your dreams change the course of your own life? What if you began to see your dreams not as meaningless fragments of the mind, but as signals, as hidden whispers pointing you toward the path you should take? What if those ancient dreams were not just tales to be retold, but actual keys unlocking the meaning of your life today? The ancient story. Try for a moment to put yourself into the world of long ago, where people lived without phones, without newspapers, without electric lights, without all the things that keep our minds busy today. When night fell, the sky stretched endlessly above, filled with thousands of stars, and sleep came with dreams, sometimes ordinary, sometimes so mysterious they could alter destiny itself. One of the most famous dreams in the Bible is Jacob's dream of the ladder. At that time, Jacob was a young man, but his life was anything but peaceful. He had just deceived his brother Esau to steal the birthright and their father's blessing. The result was that Jacob became a fugitive, forced to flee his home and wander into an unfamiliar land. In fear, loneliness, and uncertainty, he laid down to sleep on the bare ground, resting his head on a stone. That night, in his sleep, a strange vision appeared. He saw a massive ladder reaching from the earth all the way to the heavens. On that ladder, the angels of God moved up and down without ceasing. And standing at the very top was the Lord himself, promising to be with Jacob, to bless his descendants, and to give the land where he lay to his offspring. Picture that scene. The vast night sky, a ladder shining as if made of light, piercing through the clouds, connecting earth and heaven. Angels moving as though the invisible world and the visible world were now joined, with no boundaries in between. A small, frightened man suddenly witnessing the universe itself opening up before his eyes. When Jacob awoke, trembling with fear, he exclaimed, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." He named the place Bethel, meaning house of God. That dream changed Jacob forever. From a fugitive, he became a bearer of promise, and the rest of his journey was shaped by that vision of the night. But Jacob was not the only one with strange dreams. In the book of Genesis, we also meet Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. One night, he dreamed of a scene both strange and terrifying. 7 fat, healthy cows came up from the Nile, strong and full, symbols of abundance. But immediately after, 7 thin, ugly, horrifying cows appeared and devoured the 7 fat ones. What was even stranger was that, after swallowing them, they remained as skinny as before. Pharaoh woke up, confused. But when he fell back asleep, another dream came. This time, 7 full, ripe heads of grain sprang up, only to be swallowed by 7 thin, scorched, empty heads. The same dream, repeated twice with parallel images. Now imagine the most powerful king in the world at that time, ruling over a great civilization, yet tormented by a dream. His palace was full of magicians and wise men, but none could interpret it. Then, from the darkness of a prison cell, a young Hebrew man named Joseph was summoned. He listened carefully to the dream and calmly explained, "The 7 fat cows are 7 years of abundance. The 7 thin cows are 7 years of famine to follow. God has shown the king what is about to happen so that he can prepare." One dream, but it was not a private matter. It determined the fate of Egypt itself and saved many other nations during a famine. And then there was Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. His dream repeated again, haunting him to the point of sleeplessness. He saw a colossal statue, its head made of gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, and its feet a mix of iron and clay. Then a stone, not cut by human hands, came rolling, struck the statue, and shattered it. That stone grew into a great mountain and filled the entire earth. No one dared to interpret the dream except Daniel, the one favored by God. Daniel explained that the statue represented kingdoms rising and falling, one after another. But in the end, only the kingdom of God would stand forever. One dream, yet it unveiled the entire course of human history. All of these dreams share one thing in common. They went beyond the boundaries of ordinary imagination. They carried strange details that could not be explained by common logic angels moving on a glowing ladder, thin cows devouring fat cows, a statue of metal crushed by a stone. And it was those very strange details that became the keys to unlocking profound messages. The meaning in ancient times. In our modern world, when people think of dreams, many immediately point to brain activity, neuroscience, or psychological disturbances that the mind turns into images. But for people in ancient times, dreams were never just biological events. Dreams were a language. They were the way heaven communicated with humanity. Messages of warning, prophecy, or guidance. Let us return to the story of Joseph and Pharaoh. For the ancient Egyptians, dreams were often seen as windows into the world of the divine. Pharaoh, who called himself the son of the gods, certainly understood that a dream repeated twice was no coincidence. It was a sign. And just as Joseph explained, because the dream was given to Pharaoh twice, the matter is firmly decided, and God will do it soon. Here, the dream was understood as an urgent message, declaring that a great event was about to unfold. Without preparation, destruction would follow. What is fascinating is that Joseph did not merely interpret the dream. He also offered a solution. During the 7 years of abundance, store up food, so that during the 7 years of famine, the people of Egypt will survive. That meant the dream was not only a warning, but also a gift, an opportunity to act before it was too late. The ancients believed that God not only revealed the danger, but also provided the way of escape. Likewise, in the story of Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel, the dream of the giant statue was not just a warning for one king. It was a prophecy of human history itself. Daniel explained, the head of gold was the Babylonian Empire. The silver was the next empire. The bronze represented the empires that followed. The iron was another powerful kingdom, and finally, the feet mixed with iron and clay symbolized weakness and division. But the crucial point was the stone cut without human hands that represented the kingdom of God. It was not made by man. It could never be destroyed. It would crush every kingdom and endure forever. Do you see? Nebuchadnezzar's dream was not just about a personal event. It unveiled the grand picture of history. Ancient people understood such dreams as revelations, glimpses from heaven into what no human could possibly know. This is why, in ancient times, Those who could interpret dreams were considered extraordinary. Joseph in prison, Daniel in exile. They had no political power, no social status, but through wisdom given by God, they could unlock mysteries that left kings trembling. Dreams, in the eyes of the ancients, were the language of divine power. And those who could read that language were seen as having a direct connection to heaven. That explains why dreams were once held in even higher regard than any prophecy spoken by man. Because dreams came in the darkness when people had no control, no calculation, no pretense. They came as the direct voice of the unseen. And so, the ancients both feared and revered them. From the perspective of ancient culture, dreams carried three main layers of meaning. Warnings of danger ahead, like Pharaoh's dream. Prophecies of the distant future, like Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Confirmation of the divine presence, like Jacob's dream of the ladder, where he realized that God was truly with him. But the most remarkable thing is this: these dreams never remained confined to the time of the people in the stories. They always carried a layer of meaning that stretched beyond time. Think about it. Pharaoh's dream was not only for Egypt. It revealed the truth that life always has cycles of prosperity and decline. After years of success and abundance, people easily forget the coming danger and fall asleep in false security. But hardship always comes in. Only those who prepare ahead of time will stand firm. That was not only a message for Pharaoh, but for every generation. In the same way, Nebuchadnezzar's dream was not only about Babylon. It was a reminder that every empire, no matter how powerful, is temporary. Gold gives way to silver, silver to bronze. Iron eventually breaks apart. Only what comes from God will endure. That is a message for the entire world, not just one nation. And Jacob's dream, the ladder connecting heaven and earth, was not only encouragement for him in his lonely night. It is an image for all of us that human beings, even weak and small, still have a path to connect with the Creator. Every loneliness, every fear, every anxiety can be transformed into hope when we realize that heaven never closes its doors. The dreams in the Bible are not merely stories of the past. They are timeless messages that echo into our present. When the ancients listened to dreams, they were not just seeking answers for their moment. They were uncovering eternal truths that thousands of years later, you and I can still look into and find ourselves within. Connection to life today. But what about your dreams? Are they only random fragments in your brain while you sleep? Or could they carry a message, a reminder, a warning, or even an opportunity you cannot afford to ignore? In modern life, we are often so rushed that we dismiss our dreams as nothing more than tricks of the mind. We wake up and shrug. Oh, it was just a dream. But if we look back at the Bible, dreams were never seen as accidents. They always carried meaning. And when applied to our lives today, they can become mirrors reflecting our own souls. Think again about Jacob's dream of the ladder. For Jacob, it was the sign that God had not abandoned him, that even in his loneliness and fear, there was still a bridge reaching from earth to heaven. If we bring that image into our lives today, the ladder can represent each person's spiritual journey. Every rung is a step forward from doubt to faith, from weakness to strength, from fear to hope. And as we climb, we begin to realize that we are not climbing alone. There are always angels, moments of help, encouragement, people, or events that come and go along our path. Jacob's ladder is not only a symbol of God's presence, but also of our capacity to connect. To connect the visible with the invisible, the material life with the spiritual life. Maybe you feel at the bottom right now, exhausted and afraid like Jacob that night. But if you look closely, perhaps even in that very situation, there is already a ladder placed before you. The question is, will you take the first step? And what about Pharaoh's dream? 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine is not only a story from history. It is an image of the cycles of prosperity and decline in each of our lives. There are seasons of success when work goes smoothly, health is strong, and relationships overflow with joy. But there are also seasons of crisis, illness, failure, loss, loneliness. The important question is, are we prepared? The Egyptians survived because of that dream, because they stored food during the years of plenty. And what about us? In our seasons of abundance, are we storing up faith, patience, and love, so that when the famine years arrive, we will not fall into despair? That is the message Pharaoh's dream whispers to every one of us across thousands of years of history. And Nebuchadnezzar's dream, the great statue of metal, can serve as a reminder that everything we build, no matter how great, can collapse. Careers, fame, power, wealth, all of it can crumble in a single moment. That small stone of immense power is the image of the one thing that lasts: spiritual values, faith, and truth. In today's world, where people chase material things, Nebuchadnezzar's dream sounds like a wake-up call. Do not put your whole life into a statue of gold and silver, because it will shatter. Build instead on the foundation that will never be crushed. If you think about it this way, you will see that your own dreams may carry similar layers of meaning. A nightmare that repeats again and again might be a warning. You are under too much stress. You are heading in the wrong direction, or you are neglecting an important relationship. A beautiful dream might be encouragement, a reminder that hope is still alive, that you are not truly alone. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, which recent dream has left the strongest impression on you? What emotion did it leave behind? Was it worry, fear, or peace and hope? If it still lingers in your mind days later, perhaps it was not just coincidence. Perhaps it is whispering something you need to hear. And now, let me tell you a true story. A young woman living in Europe once shared that she repeatedly dreamed of being on a ship in the middle of the sea, and the ship began to sink. Each time, she woke up in a panic. At first, she thought it was only a reflection of stress from her work. But the dream repeated so many times that she finally paused and asked herself, "Am I heading in the wrong direction in life?" After many days of reflection, she realized her current job, though well-paid and stable, was draining her life away, just like a sinking ship. And so she made a difficult decision to walk away and start again in the field she truly loved. A few years later, she became a psychologist, helping hundreds of others find balance in their lives. And it all began with a haunting dream. This shows us something important. Sometimes dreams are the voice of the soul, urging us to face what we have been avoiding. Just like Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar, or Jacob, dreams force us to stop, to think, and sometimes to change the direction of our lives entirely. So the next time you wake up from a strange dream, do not rush to forget it. Try writing it down. Reflect on it. Could it be reflecting a hidden corner of your life? Could it be quietly opening a door for you, a door that, if you step through, will lead you to a deeper meaning, climax, and expansion? The ancient dreams we have just explored, from Jacob to Pharaoh to Nebuchadnezzar, not only stories meant for kings or prophets, they also reflect the very things you and I face today: our fear of the future, our longing for guidance, our deep desire to know that we are not walking alone on this journey of life. And this is the moment we step into the deepest, most powerful part of the journey, realizing that dreams, both then and now, are still a language that transcends time. Perhaps you have felt this, standing at a crossroads, uncertain which path to take. Inside, your heart is filled with countless questions. If I choose this road, will I find happiness? If I go the other way, will I regret it? You beg for a sign, some kind of direction, but everything seems silent. And then one night, you dream of a strange image. When you wake, it keeps haunting you, appearing again and again, as if it is trying to say something. You try to dismiss it, but it lingers, urging you to reflect. This is not unusual. Throughout human history, countless people have found direction through dreams. A scientist once dreamed of a mathematical formula. A composer once heard an entire piece of music in a dream and rushed to write it down upon waking. An ordinary person once dreamed of a scene that warned of danger and escaped disaster because of it. And many, in moments of spiritual crisis, rediscover faith through a simple dream filled with power. I recall a true story told in a memoir. A man lost his wife in a sudden accident and sank into despair. Each day was nothing but pain and emptiness. He no longer had a reason to live. She did not say a word, but gently nodded, as if to tell him he must go on living. When he woke, he burst into tears. The dream did not erase the grief, but it gave him a message. You are not alone. I am still here, and you must keep going. That dream became the beginning of his healing journey. Do you see? Dreams are not just games of the brain. They can become doors to hope in the darkest of moments. And that is exactly what the dreams in the Bible once did for those people in the past. Jacob, in the middle of fear, found a ladder reaching from earth to heaven. Pharaoh, in confusion, received a warning that saved an entire nation. Nebuchadnezzar, in his pride, was reminded that human power will eventually pass away. If you look closely, you will realize those dreams do not merely retell ancient stories. They reveal a truth that each of our lives carries signs, moments that make us pause, reflect, and sometimes even change direction. The question is not whether dreams exist, but whether you are willing to listen. In today's world, we live in constant noise, phones buzzing, social media updating, endless work demands. We rarely make time to listen to ourselves, let alone to our dreams. Yet dreams are where our souls, and perhaps even God Himself, whisper to us. If you ignore them, you may be ignoring the most important messages of your life. Think again of Jacob's ladder. For people long ago, it was the presence of God. For us today, it may symbolize those moments when you feel a connection beyond logic, when you stand on a mountain peak and unexpectedly cry at the beauty of a sunset. When you hear a song and your heart beats as if struck. When you dream of someone who has passed and wake with comfort in your soul. All of those moments are like rungs on a ladder, reminding you that heaven is still open, that you are not abandoned. Or look at Pharaoh's dream. The cycle of 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine was not just about grain, it was an image of every cycle in life. Youth with overflowing health is a season of plenty. A stable job with abundant income is also a season of plenty. But what happens if we do not prepare, not only with food, but with love, wisdom, and faith? When the famine years come, when we grow old, when we lose our job, when our family struggles, what then? Pharaoh's dream reminds us, prepare in times of abundance, because life will always bring seasons of change. And what about Nebuchadnezzar's dream? The statue of gold, silver, bronze, and iron, at the end it still collapsed. That is the reminder that everything we strive to build, fame, wealth, careers, can vanish. Only the stone, not cut by human hands, will last forever. For us today, that stone may be spiritual values, faith in goodness, or trust in God. If you build your life only on statues of gold and silver, remember that one day they will shatter. But if you build on the solid rock, your life will stand firm against every storm. This is the climax. Dreams are not only to be understood, but to be lived. Dreams do not just give you abstract meaning, they call you to change. They are like alarm bells in the night, shaking you awake to action. I want you to recall a dream that once stayed with you. Maybe it was a dream of falling endlessly. Maybe it was of being chased. Maybe it was of standing before a glowing door. Ask yourself, why did that dream remain with you? Perhaps it was a sign inviting you to re-examine your life. And if you feel alone in the dark, remember the story of the man who lost his wife. The dream of her smile saved him from despair. Just as Jacob, in the desert night, found a glowing ladder to heaven. Just as Joseph, stepping out of prison, became the savior of a nation because of a dream. And just as Daniel, an exiled nobody, became the voice of truth through a dream. All these stories remind you of one thing. A dream can be the message of God for you today. It might say, "Do not be afraid. I am with you." It might say, "Prepare, because hardship will come." It might say, "Every empire falls, but truth endures." And sometimes it simply says, "You are not alone." So the next time you wake from a dream that stirs your heart, do not ignore it. Do not rush to bury it beneath work and screens until it is forgotten. Write it down, reflect on it. Ask yourself, could this be a sign God is sending me? Because if there is one thing that both ancient and modern dreams affirm, it is this: a dream is never just a dream. Dreams are the language of the soul, the whisper of heaven, and the invitation for you to pause, to listen, and to walk forward in faith. We have walked together through a long journey from the ancient stories of the Bible to the way people of old understood dreams, to connecting them with life today, and finally expanding them into timeless messages. And now, as this journey comes to a close, perhaps the most important thing you need to carry with you is this: ancient dreams were never just about the past. They are stories recorded thousands of years ago, yet their light still shines today. They show us that dreams can be mirrors of the soul, warnings of the future, and signs reminding us that we are never alone. When Jacob lay in the wilderness, he saw a radiant ladder reaching from earth to heaven. When Pharaoh was troubled, his dreams saved an entire nation from famine. When Nebuchadnezzar was proud, the dream of the statue reminded him that human power is only temporary. And today, when you fall asleep, perhaps you too carry a dream, not just to retell for amusement, but to help you see your life's path more clearly. What I want you to remember is this: every dream carries a possibility. The possibility of warning you about what is to come. The possibility of reflecting what you are avoiding. The possibility of encouraging you when you are weak. And even the possibility of connecting you with God Himself. The real question is not whether dreams exist, but whether you are willing to listen. Maybe you once thought of dreams as nothing more than tricks of the brain. But if, after this video, you pause for a moment to reflect, you may realize that those ancient dreams, though thousands of years old, are still speaking to us. And your dream, even tonight, may also be a message. Instead of ignoring it, you write it down, you reflect on it, you pray over it, and perhaps from that small moment, a new door opens. Perhaps that is your ladder. Perhaps that is the sign meant just for you. And right now, before this video ends, I want to leave you with one open question. If dreams are not just dreams, but messages for your life today, do you have the courage to listen and to walk in their direction? If that question continues to echo in your mind, then this journey has succeeded. And finally, I want to say this gently but sincerely. If you want to keep discovering the hidden treasures of the Bible and their meaning for life today, please subscribe, share this video, and do not forget to join the journeys to come. Because what we have experienced today is only a small part. There are still countless stories, countless dreams, countless messages waiting for you to uncover. And perhaps in one of the next videos, you will find the very answer to the question you have carried for so long. Until then, let your dreams guide you. Listen closely. And always remember, you are never alone.